Right, so I'm going to present the social scientific work that has been done in this project from a group of sociologists and economists. It's about the business models and the sales methods for urban farmed food products. And in preparation for this presentation, I was very focused on the very short amount of time that I had. So I'm going to not talk anything at all about everything that we already did and published, and rather focus on presenting some results that are still unpublished from two parts of the project, where one is about the community-supported agriculture business models in Norway and the UK, where we did a survey with members, and the next is is results of this workshop, two workshops that we have had in Bergen, where the focus was on the tangle in how to that needs to be solved in order to increase the amount of locally produced small-scale vegetables in the Bergen area. Right, so I'm just going right to the results. But I will tell you, we performed two surveys, one in Norway, where we received a lot of help from CSAs who distributed a questionnaire to the members, and the same was done in the UK in collaboration with the CSA UK, Community Supported Agriculture UK, and we received approximately. The members didn't respond to all the questions, so there is a difference in the amount of respondents to each question, but approximately 380-ish on from Norway and 220 from the UK. I'm just going to present. This was a long questionnaire. I'm just going to present some of the results. Where we're focusing on the business models, where we found some interesting differences. So I hope everyone knows what the community supported agriculture is, by the way. It's
Andelslandbruk.
Yeah, Andelslandbruk in Norwegian. In the Norwegian community supported agriculture, the most common business model is that the consumers or the members of the CSA go to the farm and harvest themselves what is produced by the CSA, whereas that model is much less common in the UK, which was quite surprising to us. In the UK, there is more like a range of different models that are common, where some just collect the vegetables that have already been harvested and package them themselves. And some just go to the CSA and they get it ready packed. And there are also pickup points where you can come and pick up your vegetables that someone else has packed. And some even get it delivered to their house. So that's quite different between the two countries. There also seemed to be a lot more involvement then, like that seems perhaps plausible in the Norwegian context, where a lot more of the participants or the members participate in the growing process of the vegetables. So they don't only harvest the vegetables themselves, but they also participate in the sort of sowing of the plants and the weeding and so on. But there seemed to be an equal participation in events and social activities in the CSAs, and the UK members also do visit their CSA, although not as often, it seems, as the Norwegian participants, the Norwegian respondents. So this is important for perhaps for the coming up results. So we asked the respondents what their motivation for being CSA members were, and we found some strong similarities between the, yes, thank you, similarities between the two countries. For both of them, environmental aspects were very important. That they are members because they want to have products that are more that are produced in an environmentally friendly way. And the second most important for both countries was food quality. So it's important for both UK and Norwegian members that to be a member because they think that they get better quality vegetables in this way, which could be explained by the fact that these vegetables very often have recently been harvested. But there might also be some aspects here about small-scale produced vegetables having a better quality because they're not using the industrial methods with more plant production with chemically produced pesticides. But this is, of course, just a theory. Otherwise, we find an interesting difference in that for the Norwegian consumers, food safety is more important than for the UK consumers. And food safety means that you think that the product is safe, that doesn't have pesticides, pesticide residues, or anything that could harm your health. And there could be a link here with a lot of vegetables in Norway being imported, and that other studies have shown that Norwegian consumers often one of the products that they want to consume less of is imported vegetables. So there seem to be a preference towards Norwegian safely produced vegetables among the Norwegian consumers. Also, the UK consumers are more concerned about supporting local farmers, which also could have to do with the different business model for mainstream marketing of vegetables in Norway and the UK, where in Norway, vegetable producers who sell through the supermarket chains are often members of cooperatives and do kind of have some protection from the market forces, whereas the situation is a bit different in the UK, where they're selling directly to supermarkets and are in a more sort of precarious situation. So perhaps for the UK consumers, being able to support a farmer is something that they value more than what is the case in Norway. Also in the UK, less packaging and food miles is more important, which might be because there is more focus on that in the UK than in Norway. But these are just theories that we have. In Norway, access to products that I don't get anywhere else is important. And this is also quite interesting because there has been kind of a tradition in Norway of supermarkets having less of a variety of different products than when people go to neighboring countries such as Sweden or the UK. So vegetables that you get from a CSA often have a much larger variety. There are different types of cabbage and things that you won't actually get in your supermarket, and especially not in the small supermarkets that you have in Norway. By the way, this is a picture of my daughter with the vegetables that she got from the CSA that we're a member of. So, the benefits from the CSA membership is also something we asked about. And here we were not so surprised by the differences in the answers, but maybe by how many who actually thought that their CSA had improved their quality of life and improved their eating habits and even their physical and even mental health was something that I at least didn't expect to find such a high percentage of people answering. That just the fact of buying your vegetables from a CSA would actually do something to how you perceive your sort of life situation. So, and we do see some differences, like in the Norwegian context, the CSAs have increased to a larger extent their skills, which is also something that we got quite a lot of comments about, that they, which is linked with that they're participating actively in the production. So they're actually learning how to grow vegetables. And this was also for some them a motivation for joining in the first place, that they wanted to learn how to grow vegetables. And there are obviously some of them are also getting this. Okay, now we're going to the next research that are still unpublished but on its way. And this is the workshops that we held in Bergen. So this has been a collaborative project with the City Farmer of Bergen and the Stiftelsen Lystgården. And we just wanted to sort of, or they wanted to solve this, what they call the tangle, that there is a need for more locally produced vegetables in Bergen, and if they are produced, they also need to get distributed to the Bergen people. And so we thought it would be a good idea to gather those people who have any influence on this situation, either as producers or as someone who's running a sales channel, or the public authorities, and also organizations who are doing publishing. And we looked at a lot at maps in the previous presentation, just showing you the topography of Bergen. It's not very easy to grow vegetables here, but it does happen. You can do it. There are areas where it's possible. So you just need to find these areas, and you have to find the people who can do it. And what came out of these workshops, where people were sitting together in groups discussing, there were plenary discussions, and what came out of it was that there is a need for increased competence, access to land, soil improvement. That there is soil, but it often needs to be drained. It needs to be fertilized in order to increase the productivity. And the grants for investments and production are very low for small-scale vegetable producers. So this is something that there is an obvious need for a change from the policymakers' side. If they do want to have small-scale vegetable production in Norway, there is also a need to follow up from the grants that are, because basically they're not getting anything. If you're a small-scale vegetable producer, you are not eligible for any support from the agricultural authorities. Collaboration and network is needed. And this was nice to watch from the workshops, that people started to talk together and are agreeing to meet outside of the workshops. So things might happen just because of us gathering here. The sales channels was also something that we discussed. Selling through a local alternative sales channel is very different from just buying at the supermarket. There is a myriad of different methods, and it can be quite complicated for the consumers. This is a nice illustration made by the Markedsføringsmuligheter project that Randi down here is part of. Yeah, I think this is my last slide, so don't worry. Yeah, so what we need, what came out of the workshop that is needed for more sales of locally produced vegetables is there's a need for an overview. Those who were working with the sales channels didn't know who and how much they could get, who they could buy from and how much they could get. So they were asking for data about this. And something that could be maybe updated on a regular basis. There was a strong need for visibility of these products and to communicate to consumers the benefits of buying local vegetables. So this was something that the organizations that were participating were started to get interested in, how they could perhaps produce material that could be distributed through social media and so on, in collaboration with the farmers. There is a lot of options for improving the sales channels, or maybe constructing new ones that doesn't exist. For instance, veg box schemes that are quite popular in the UK is something that we don't have in the Bergen area. Yeah, collaboration here as well is important. And then there was a large discussion about how the public authorities could increase their purchases of locally produced vegetables, which is a complex area. We're going to have a next workshop also. This project is continuing on October 3rd.
thank you very much, Anna. This was also an example how the project is in synergy, or has been in synergy with other projects, and it was only a part of the social science that was done, and this was in a way an emphasis of the project because it was financed by a business-directed program. So this should have been, this was and should be the biggest part of our project.